What is going on, everyone? Today we got a friend, an old client, and a partner in crime. We got Andre Haykal Jr. here. He is the founder of Client Ascension. He is the founder of Knowledge X. He is the founder of his own fucking awesome podcast. And this guy is one of the young dudes that I'm really fucking impressed with. I really am, Andre. I have a lot of respect for you. So listen in this chat. This is gonna be freaking great. Andre has been able to scale his agency by 70K MRR in 8 months this year. And Client Ascension, that's not even talking about his other business, Client Ascension. So I think we have two six-figure per month businesses right now, which is crazy at the age of Andre. How old are you?
22.
At the age of 22. So guys, this guy's
Yeah.
the real fucking deal. No cap. And if you don't know me, my name's Jordan Ross. I'm the founder of Eight Figure Agency and a partner in Talos. We help you scale your agency through systems, software, and people systems. So, Andre, for everyone that doesn't know you, I kind of didn't mean to overhype you. I don't think it is any overhype at all. I think it's all legit. Who are you for everyone that doesn't know you?
Yeah, thank you for the intro. It's cool to reflect back on when we first had met and where we were both at, and it's you've inspired me a lot through my own journey in the agency game, and still learning a lot just from being in your circle. So yeah, anyways, my name's Andre. As you mentioned, 22-year-old entrepreneur, agency owner.
Beast.
From from originally from upstate New York, recently moved down to Tampa, Florida. And yeah, I just run businesses with my best friends and try to run it up. That's really it.
How many? I know you have the Client Ascension Knowledge X. How many other businesses do you have? What are the other ones?
Yeah, so we have Knowledge X, which is the lead gen agency. We have Client Ascension, which is the coaching program. We have List Kit, which is our list building SaaS. And then recently partnered with Unicorn Connect, which is really just a lead gen agency, but for a whole different vertical, similar to Knowledge X.
At 22, dude, I remember. So I remember seeing you on LinkedIn, and this is just
Yeah.
for us as friends. I remember seeing you on LinkedIn. I think it was in 2020. And you had like a big podcast at Binghamton, right? Am I remembering this
Yeah.
correctly?
Yep. Yeah.
What was that? I just have curiosity because I don't remember what that was.
Yeah, so my backstory is like I've been an entrepreneur, quote unquote, for like 6 years now. And I honestly didn't start to have success until like this year, funny enough. So like it's
It's
funny
how
for
it
people
goes,
like
bro.
just meeting
Right?
me. Yeah, but it's just funny because like people meet me now and they're like, wow, like you're so successful and like how do you have all these businesses? And they just don't know about like the 5 years before that were just miserable failures. But anyways, growing up, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My dad was an immigrant from Lebanon. My grandpa was poor growing up, and then had a lot of success in small business, exiting over like $100 million worth of companies. So I was like, I wanted to be an entrepreneur because the two guys I looked up to all my life were successful entrepreneurs. So, anyways, I grew up in a small town. Not many people could relate to wanting to be an entrepreneur. And so when I got to college, I just was really fed up that I couldn't find like a community of like-minded people. So I met Christian, who was really the only one that could relate to this way of thinking. And so we started a podcast, really having no idea what a podcast was, how to do it, who we were going to talk to, what we were going to talk about. We just kind of went with it. And that turned into like an interview show that we did for like 100 straight weeks, which was cool. Interviewed like a bunch of notable entrepreneurs, and that was really our start. It was called Real Talk University. It's kind of like our diss track, if you will, to college. And yeah, that was the start.
It's crazy because as you were talking, I pulled up our conversation, our first engagement ever. You DM me on February 12th, 2020. Hey
Wow.
Jordan, I hope you've been well. One of my goals for 2020 is to be more engaged with my connections on LinkedIn. I'd love to learn more about you and how I might be able to help. And then ultimately, you sent me a link to Incubate Media's mastermind group. I don't know if you remember. Um, so,
Wow.
guys, I think what I really want to highlight. I mean, Andre, I feel like we have a really similar story. You you went into entrepreneurship. I went into a job to learn how to be an entrepreneur. So that when I was an entrepreneur, I was like you hired like me as a consultant to kind of learn these skills.
Yeah.
I went to Amazon to fuck up on their dime. Ultimately, I ended up in the same place. But I think one of the things that Gary Vee talks about, I know we're both big fans of his, is the patience and just really being willing to eat shit for years. Like I was broke as fuck in terms of like an entrepreneur, probably 3 years, like really 3, 4 years, probably 3 years really hustling my face off. 2017, 2020, 2020, I finally figured out how to make my first 10K. And you, same thing,
Yeah.
trying to crush in the background. We're now here, like you're running 2 7-figure businesses. Um, what's just kind of looking back on this year, right? Because this year when we started, everyone, Andre is doing roughly like 30-ish in monthly recurring revenue with the agency. And Andre, I don't know if that's cool. We could edit it out. If not,
Yeah,
um,
you're good. You're
and you're
good.
doing over 100K right now, right? You did 100K last month. So looking back just on this year, like what's just not even the technical takeaway, just like the high level takeaway for our guys listening, the agency owners listening that are still in the weeds and really trying to hustle their face off.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that's helped me to have success this year specifically is just my team, just surrounding myself with people that know how to do things that I don't. I feel like for the 3 or 4 years that I was spinning my wheels, I was trying to do everything. And that was like, I wouldn't go back and change that because it gave me like all this awareness of the different skill sets that are needed to build a business successfully, but it also gave me the self-awareness of like I personally don't enjoy sales. Like I don't do any sales calls for any of the businesses that I'm involved in, and I'll never do it, and I'll never want to, and I'll be happy about that. And just all these different things that I learned about myself through those experiences and failures, if you want to call them, they're really just stepping stones to figuring out that I need to surround myself with people that are good at sales. I need to surround myself with people that are good at client facing positions because I'm not the best communicator. And so like there's all these. It was really just a self awareness game for me. And also
So true.
learning at a high level from guys like yourself, like what are the different aspects that go into a successful business. And like the agency model is really straightforward. Once you have done it enough, it's really just like lead gen, like traffic to a good offer, to a sales machine that, can close consistently, to a fulfillment team that could retain clients and upsell them. And like once you figure that out, it's just putting the right people in place in all the different parts of the business, and figuring out which role specifically you personally want to focus on. And that was it for me. It was like a big revelation of like it's actually a lot easier than I thought it was. I don't have to be the everything player, if that makes sense.
No, I mean I fully resonate with this. I remember I really struggled at Amazon. I almost got fired at Amazon. It's a fun fact.
Wow.
I was a month away from going on a PIP because I just didn't understand operations and I had to bash my head in so much so that I've become the ops guy. But one thing that I know I didn't know this about you until after we stopped engaging with one another in our work that you're an integrator, right? Like you're like
Yeah.
the and I learned this from Dan, Black Hat Wizard, cold email wizard, Black Hat Wizard, both in the same. And Dan was like, "Yeah, I just focus on leads. Dan closes them. Andre focuses on all the systems. Christian does all the email." Right. And for everyone listening, I think what you have, Andre, I think you have the foundation of you have one of the best core foundational teams I've ever seen. Period. So for you guys that don't know the Knowledge X and the Client Ascension team, let's just do Knowledge X first. Andre's cousin is his director of sales, Dan. Like he handles the bulk of the sales calls. And for Client Ascension, you guys actually have like a couple other guys that do sales. So Dan oversees that department. Andre oversees kind of the like account management and customer success journey and fulfillment. And then for the actual delivery, Christian does the copy, the emails, and lead gen, right? So those are the three heads. And then you add for Client Ascension, which is this coaching program. There's a multi-tier, and you guys have people in there Monday through Friday. But you have cold email wizard Daniel.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name. So it's an
Fazio.
F. Fazio. It's an F. And this guy crushes lead gen, right? So you just add another partner in here. I think a lot of guys, including myself up until this year, is like, I'm not down to split the pie. I want it all on my own. But I mean, this year you have 2 7-figure businesses. Is Client Ascension at the multi 7-figure run rate yet? I know you guys are getting close.
Uh,
Getting close.
well, yeah, like last month's run rate would put us around 3. So, but like that's a
Holy,
one must
And
run with.
granted, I know you guys got to keep at it, but I think the lesson that I'm pulling from you, right? It's better. And guys, Andre's partner, your partners are not fucking noobs. They are
Yeah.
killers. Every single one of them is a eight-figure entrepreneur. Daniel's Daniel's something else too. So I love that. I want to transition a little bit. Let's talk about Knowledge X. When we start engaging, I formally started engaging in February, doing roughly 30K. We changed a lot of things from when you look back on that time, because I recently wrote that thread. What are some of your takeaways on what the changes were that we made that weren't too crazy, but enabled you guys to retain your clients, increase LTV? What were those things that we did?
Yeah. Biggest takeaway right off the top of my head is frame. And so like our offer was really good. We were able to sell the offer pretty consistently, but we had a blind spot, which was fulfillment. And it was coming to the realization that the way we were selling or framing the offer was not really scalable on the fulfillment side. And so that was like a big issue that after talking with you guys, we reframed it. And so to get more specific, we were doing like performance based offers, and it was like fully done for you. And so there were so many different facets that we had to control the outcomes for. And we did a slight pivot from done for you to done with you and switched from performance pricing to retainer pricing. And that changed everything. And that was probably the number one thing is the offer. And we again, like our offer was selling. So what I would say to agency owners that are newer, just because your offer is selling doesn't mean it's a good offer. If it's selling and it's scaling on the back end, it's a good offer. And we just didn't have that second piece where it needed to be or where it is now.
Yeah, I'm even looking at my notes. Um, One of the things that I think was pivotal beyond just the framing too, when we actually went into the like nails and details of it and the weeds with it, we realized one of the things you had to do is increase volume, increase pricing, and that's been massively successful. I introduced a lead to Daniel today, and the guy asked me, he's like, "How much do I need to like spend on this?" I'm like, "Well, what's your budget?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "A couple thousand." I'm like, I hit up Dan, like, what do I need to tell this guy? He's like, first month at least 5,500, something like that, right? And I think that was a huge pivot because it's like we're not selling to the masses, we're selling to the people that could actually afford to do this the right way. Because I mean, there are so many email agencies that do it wrong. You can go do email, but you'll churn and burn like fucking crazy. You guys realize, let's do it the right way. Let's increase price and let's ramp up volume like fucking crazy and get results at a higher level. So how has that changed your
Yeah.
client experience and retention? That because that was a massive change that we made too.
Massive, massive. It was game changer. So exactly what you pointed out. I think our pricing journey went from it was like 600 a month to 800 a month to 1100 a month to 1500 a month. And then now like our lowest package is 3K a month. And like each of those raises were just more and more successful, which is why we kept raising prices. But I think the number one thing that doesn't get talked about when like, because it's a big thing on Twitter and in the agency space is like raise your prices. And that's it. There's no backbone to it at all. And the most important part of raising prices is to create more margin or to create more room to reinvest into improving the actual service. And that's what we really found out is like, okay, if we're charging $600 a month, we can't really invest in multiple email accounts and the best email tools and account managers to oversee the whole process. And so it's very unlikely that this will work and we'll churn that client. If we charge $3,000, we can invest in dozens of email accounts, which adds more stability. We could assign an account manager and pay them well enough. And we could actually make this service work consistently without us having to be there for the day to day. And that was like the biggest revelation for us. And then of course, obviously, if you're charging 600 compared to 3,000, you need one client compared to five, and so the logistics make a lot of sense there too. But yeah, I mean that was game changer.
What's your retention look like? Because I remember I think it was in March. I'm having a flashback to where I was when we were having this conversation, but I was like, hey, like we're you guys were closing like 20 deals a month
Yeah,
early. You're doing it quick, and it was really impressive. And I was like, all right, so like we're making this transition in 3 months. We're going to see some churn. That'll give us an indication. and then from there we'll be able to really establish a baseline. Like, what are you guys seeing right now in terms of stability, roughly, in the
Yeah,
business?
so it kind of flipped, right? So we're not closing as many deals as we were before, but we're not losing clients like we were before. And what's actually happening is what's taking place of the deals we were originally closing is we're actually upselling the existing clients. Before we never really used to have an upsell, and even if we did, it was really hard to upsell those clients because they were ready to leave. So it's like, how do you sell someone that wants to leave anyways? And now it's like we're getting really good results, and so it's like, how do we upsell these guys to be higher value? And it's just exactly what like guys like Formosi talk about is you retain them longer and eventually upsell them. That's like how you increase LTV. And that's what you guys also helped us with is kind of seeing like get someone in the door now for this amount. If you prove yourselves, you could, scale it up and upsell them into higher tiers. And that's worked really well for us. Um, and it works well for our client success managers to give them some sort of incentive to work towards. And yeah, like the retention is increased and the upsell rate is went from like non-existent to a fair percentage of our clients now are on
That's
higher
fucking
packages.
it's fucking sick. I absolutely love it. You said something, our customer success managers. When we were working with each other, it was in roughly March or April. You hired your first one. I forget that chick, Eastern European
Stephanie.
Stephanie. Yeah, killer, freaking awesome. Um, that was your first employee that I think you had actually hired that was like going to be client facing, and this was a big deal at this point in your development as an entrepreneur. Looking back, what are the big things that you took away? Because I actually just serendipitously pulled up that original Stairmore checklist that you built for her. So
Yeah.
what are those takeaways that you had back then, and then that just framed your reference as a business owner and manager of people today?
Yeah, I think like the biggest holdback for me, and now that I like talk to other agency owners about this stuff as well, like the biggest holdback from hiring like a customer facing role is the fact that I wasn't prepared to make the hire. And what
Mm,
I mean by that is like I had the it was really hard as like an entrepreneur to like think in terms of like an employee's mindset because there needs to be structure, there needs to be agendas, there needs to be frameworks. Whereas an entrepreneur, you kind of wake up and it's you don't really know what to expect that day. But like an employee would not survive in that environment. So you have to like put yourself in the employee's mindset, which is again really difficult to do.
especially
And
for someone
so
who's never been an employee.
yeah, exactly. So it's like it was really difficult to do. And so like what would happen is I'd hire people and I just kind of expect them to show up and know, what's going on and what processes to follow and really just what to work on. Until it just didn't work time and time again. So the standard work checklist, which Jordan is referencing, is something that I learned from him as well, which is really just like a checklist of things for the employer, the specific role to work on every single day and to be held accountable to completing every single day. And so all I did was I implemented something like that, knowing that it's also going to change and evolve and get better over time. And that was really it. And it's just such an easy management system uh, to live by because you communicate with the client success manager, the specific role, what needs to get done every single day. And then you review it at the end of the day to see the progress. And if it didn't get done, you just make observations. So, like at the end of the week, if you see a specific task continually did not get done, obviously you need to address that. Or if you saw a task get done and you saw like a direct impact, like maybe do more of that. And so it's more so like instead of doing the actual work, it's observing what the work results in. And it's like what people talk about is working on the business instead of in the business. It allows you to just make better and quicker decisions on how to move the business forward.
I love it. So I kind of want to change paces here. Um, and dude, I just want to give you some quick kudos, right? I was making a list. I have a post. I'm playing with it. I think it's going to upset a lot of people because not everyone's on this list. I remember in like 2005 on ESPN, they made like the perfect quarterback, and it was like Michael Vick's feed and like Tom Brady's like vision and Peyton Manning's arm. I don't know. And I was thinking about that for the agency or the entrepreneur, and
Yeah.
I have you on there. I'm just like serial entrepreneur. I like the serial mentality. But so I just wanted to give you those kudos because like you're a really exceptional learner, and it really does take obviously a specific type of person to have these ventures. Because I mean, I bought into Taylor's and I was like, oh fuck, this is more than I realized it was going to be.
Yeah,
So massive kudos to you, man.
appreciate it.
Um, Client Ascension. This is the business that, as of last month, is going to do a $3 million run rate. Everyone's listening to this. It's a coaching program. I know more details. Like, there's a lot of agencies that might be interested. What is Client Ascension? Why should someone care? What do you guys teach? What do you guys do?
Yeah, client ascension. So the backstory there is you mentioned a few times Daniel Fazio or Cole Email Wizard, Black Hat Wizard. He
He's a
goes by
homie. He's a straight homie.
yeah, he's got a few aliases out there. But essentially we the way I got started with our cold email lead gen agency Knowledge X was through Daniel's private group like 2 years ago. And in that group, he and I connected a bunch, and I was, just adding a lot of value to the community and whatever else. So we ended up getting on some calls, and we ended up partnering on like an info product at the time called the Vault, and that ended up being like his second most successful info product ever behind Cold Email Master, which he's known for. And so that went really well. And because we had myself, Dan, and Christian had background in coaching businesses, we felt it was a good decision to start a coaching business to help agency owners to basically implement a lead gen system, right? Because we trial and errored lead gen agencies for 3 years, maybe. Like you mentioned, Incubate Media was one of them. Like we had a lot of failed ventures in the agency space. And going back and looking at why all of those failed, it usually came down to either the offer or the lead gen, and the sales and some other things as well. But those were like the core focuses. And those were the things that we were really good at and are really good at. And Daniel as well. Again, he's like the cold email wizard. So, he got that name because he knows how to do cold email. And so, yeah, we started a coaching program basically to help people that wanted to get into the agency space and wanted to come up with an offer that would actually sell, and then learn how to implement a lead gen system to drive leads and traffic to sell that offer. Right. So it's really just like an introductory agency offer. We started the program. It was just us. We would do like weekly coaching calls, nothing crazy. Learned a lot from that first cohort experience, and then it really like revolutionized. This was like where the innovator in me really sparked, because like I'm an integrator, like I think systems and operations and processes, but I'm also kind of like a visionary, like innovator. Like I have like these really pivotal ideas or moments that happen within each business that really like turn a corner. And for Client Ascension, I remember specifically, it's a really cool story. I was sitting at the Marriott in Tampa the week we were touring apartments in Tampa, deciding whether or not we should move here. And I just had an idea that like I only know so much. I only know lead gen. Daniel only knows lead gen. Dan knows sales. Christian knows
Yeah.
copy. There's so many other things that you need to do to run an agency successfully. And so one thing that I've done really well with is making connections in the space to other people that are really smart, have success, all that great stuff. So we just basically built like an army or a team of other coaches for all the different facets of running an agency, brought them together, put them on salary, and said, come into our program and teach what you know. And so that like just revitalized the entire thing. So it wasn't just us, it was like you pointed out, now we're up to 9 weekly calls. We covered 9 different topics within the agency space every single week on a live call in our program. And then outside of that, we have the community in Slack and all that stuff. But anyways, yeah, so it's just a coaching program for agency owners. We could go in like tons of
Coaching
different
program,
directions.
9 weekly calls. Guys, check it out. Client Ascension. If you're trying to get your first 10 to 50,000 or scale your business up to 50,000, these are the guys that are going to teach you. I still refer leads to Andre's Knowledge X. I sent a lead this morning that booked a call. So, guys, if you couldn't tell, I'm a big fan. So, Andre, if they want to check out Knowledge X or Client Ascension, where do they go?
Yeah, knowledgex.us.com is not available. So knowledgex.us and then clientascension.com. Yeah, or just my Twitter at Andre Haykal Jr. I post everything on there as well.
Big goat on Twitter. Awesome. Andre, thank you so much for coming on, man. Really appreciate you.
Yo, thank you, Jordan, for everything. Appreciate it.
Peace out.